Welcome to the Effects Loop. I'm Diaz.
I'm Chris.
I'm Marissa.
I'm Scott.
I'm Albert.
And we are keeping you in the loop of the guitar community. This episode, God bless America. All right. This episode is brought to you by Lambertone Pickups. They have been putting out some amazing products. I've got the Cremas in my SG. We're working on a demo for them. Keep your eyes open for them. Go check them out. See them on Instagram, Facebook, and purchase something from them. Buy something. Let them know that you heard about them from us. All right, now we're going to do what's new. Chris?
Nothing yet. It's still in the works, so hopefully next recording session I'll have something new.
Do you want to spill the beans on what you're working
Come
on,
on,
or is this
come on.
going to be a secret?
I'm trying to sell a cab and guitar in order to get a 80s
Double cut Les
Marshall
Paul?
Marshall Lead 100 MOSFET. It's a solid state, but it's like one of the closer solid states to the like 1959/1987 line.
And then you don't have those pesky, nasty tubes in there that keep blowing.
Exactly.
So here's my question.
So I did have a Plexi. It was hot.
What is like the MOSFET? Because I know the Full Drive 2, there's MOSFET and then non-MOSFET. Why do people hate it so much or love it so much?
Well, a MOSFET is a transistor.
Yeah.
So tubes are transistors. Op amps are effectively transistors. They're all just electrical components typically used for amplification. And so it's just a different means of doing it.
Very nice. All right.
And that is electrical engineering with Scott for the day.
There we go. Marissa,
right.
what do you got?
Nothing.
Oh,
This is, well, at least we know that someone has some pretty cool stuff. Because I currently have a package that has been meant to be shipped for a while, and I still haven't gotten it. I got the pre-shipment notice, but it's been there for a few days. So I've got another set of strings coming in from Gabriel Tenorio, or Tenorio.
Oh, yeah.
However you pronounce it. So I ordered, I pretty much didn't, like, their website's confusing to me because I'm just one of those guitar players where if you put it in my hand, I'll tell you if I like it or not, but I'm not like smart enough where I'm like, no, I need round core with silver this and all that. Like, I'm just like, no, those feel good, those don't feel good. So he actually said that for my Firebird, he was doing a set that's kind of a weird, I guess, gauge set. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't have those in stock, so I've been waiting a little bit for him, but I'm excited that they'll be here hopefully within the next week.
Nice.
So, and then Scott, you've got quite a bit of what's new.
yeah. I mean, the first most tangible one is I got a new pedal in. I got one of those JHS unicorns off their fire sale a week and a half ago or so. Playing around with it.
Can I do a shout out to Alan Chappell, who's poor guy?
Oh, yeah, poor guy.
Rest in peace.
Alan Chappell is a friend of ours that unfortunately his got stolen off his porch and had a hard time kind of getting reimbursed and refunded for it. So hopefully he, gets some money in hand and hopefully gets a new pedal in hand too.
Reverb actually took care of him, gave him Reverb bucks equal to the money he spent, and I believe he used them to buy the Harbinger from Matthews Effects from Leon Wright from Pelican Noiseworks. If I could be wrong,
nice.
But I'm pretty sure that's kind of what happened because Leon posted in. All of us are members of the inner circle that support 60 Cycle Hum, which is another great podcast you should be listening to, which I'm sure you probably do. 60 Cycle Hum 60. All right, sorry. They actually he posted in there that Leon posted that Alan bought his Harbinger, so I'm guessing that's where the money came from.
Sweet.
And we're derailed by Diaz once again.
Yeah. So So the unicorn's is a kind of a univibe kind of a product. So I'm getting used to it. It's still kind of, I don't know. Vibe's not really an effect I've ever really used much, or a phaser. I usually kind of get my like swirly effects from my delay pedals oscillating. That's kind of where I get that kind of sound from. So still debating if this is going on the big board or it's just going to be something I play around with for a little bit, or what I wind up doing with it. But it's cool. It's got 2 very different modes. It's really well built. So
see, my
looking
problem
forward
is
to more time with it.
with vibes. I always want to go for that black hole sun sound, where it's like just insane. It's like not really usable in every song. I know there's a lot of people who use it as a slight effect. I just can't do it. That's one of the effects that it's all or nothing.
Yeah, and since this is JHS, it's way more down the middle as far as like effects go. Like it does the standard thing really well, where versus like another brand where they get super super weird with it.
Yeah, Earthquaker is one of those brands that really gets kind of weird. But Albert, you own some Earthquaker stuff, don't you? Or didn't you at one point?
Yeah. I've had quite a few Earthquaker pedals. I'm just a really big fan of everything that they make. I had a Hoof Reaper for a while. I've had a Hummingbird, the Trem. I have a really super weird kind of like limited run fuzz that they did for a music festival once called the Grim Reaper. Yeah. It means exactly what you think. But it's like it's a super rippy Velcro fuzz that I think they made like 120 of or something that I randomly got in a trade one day.
They should have made 420, but that's just me.
Yeah, they numbered all of them 420 out of 120. So
nice.
Yeah, good old Earthquaker.
I think Earthquaker, one of their cool pedals that I had was a Ghost Echo at one point. And
Yeah,
that's
those are nifty.
that's an awesome reverb pedal. Let's see. And then what else? You went to CME, Scott, didn't you?
Yeah, and not casually. Oh, Scott went to a guitar store. Chicago Music Exchange was hosting a event. I believe they called it the Pedal Jam. So they had a number of manufacturers in with sort of their NAMM boards, doing the whole show off thing. It was good. So Josh Scott and JHS was there. Robert Keeley was there. I saw Joel Cordy. I didn't get the chance to talk to him though. From Chase Bliss. Old Blood Noise Endeavors was there. Death by Audio was there. I want to say Dwarfcraft was there. There were 8 or 10 builders there, and it's a little crowded, to be honest, for Chicago Music Exchange.
That's like the one section of NAMM just put all together. Like at Summer NAMM, like the 3 rows of guitar pedals just thrown in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I brought a buddy of mine with me, and that's sort of like the first thing I told him. Like, it's like NAMM, but it's less formal in the sense of like you're just dealing with people off the street, and that kind of meant like one guy would kind of stand in front of you and not really like let you see what's going on and chat as much. Like it didn't have the same kind of I guess etiquette would be the word, where like when you're at NAMM, people are able to kind of address all the passerbyers a bit better, and it's a little more spread out and a little less crowded. So, but all in all, it was a cool opportunity. I'm sure, a lot of people loved being able just to kind of hook everything up and play with it, and get to see some stuff that they wouldn't normally get their hands on and play with. So it was a good time. Saw Seth over at Old Blood Noise Endeavors gave me kind of a tour of the Flatlight, which is this delay and flanger together, and that changed my perspective on what flanger can do for sure, because I'm used to just airplane noises.
Like
and
Blink
this
182
like
noises.
Yeah, I think of like, is it American Woman by Lenny Kravitz, where he uses a really heavy one?
I think so. I always think of anything Blink 182 off of the self-titled album and then hitting into Boxcar Racer, because that's really when he went kind of heavy on the flanger.
Yeah. so that was really cool. Tried out the Access a little bit too. Didn't get. I was trying to not be like rude, and also I could only be there for an hour, so I was kind of struggling to see everything that I wanted to see. But the Flatlight really impressed me. I'm considering watching the market for a little bit to see if I could pick one of those up.
Is the flanger in the in the loop, like it's affecting only your repeats, or is it before, or is it?
It's got tons of different modes, and so like one of the things I love about when you're at like NAMM or you're at a place like this, you're dealing like face to face with the pedal builder. Yeah. So it's not like, all right, I'm going to go into the test room with the pedal. I'm going to set everything at noon and see what it does. They'll start you there, and then they'll go, now hang on, let me tweak this to its extremes and really get something out of it that's you would never have seen coming. So like that, I'm going to need like another lesson in that pedal if I'm going to add it to my board and really figure it out, because it just did so much cool stuff. But the way I kind of think of it is like, you know how on like a lot of classic delay pedals you have a modulation section. So on your repeats you get a little bit of warble or you get a little bit of something. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to that, but instead of a phaser or a chorus effect, you're getting a flanger, and that made a really really cool effect that was a bit different. Yeah. And then it goes into weird territories, but like at its core, the simple thing, that's what it's doing. So really like that. And then the whole staying on the topic of weirdness and how extreme pedals can get out. I got to try a Therme from Chase Bliss.
Well, I'm just happy you pronounced it because I had no clue. I was about to just call it I read it really fast. I was like, oh, Chase Bliss is coming out with a theremin. That's pretty neat. Which, Joel, if you happen to ever listen to this, I would buy a theremin from you if you decided to make one.
Yeah, it's crazy what that thing can do. And like, it's fun talking. I was talking with Zach, and what's really cool is I met Zach at NAMM last year. So he like recognized me right away because there's not a lot of 6'7" guitar players in the world.
That's how I found you whenever we met last year at Summer NAMM. Like that's how Scott and I first met, was last year at Summer NAMM. We're like, in 60 Cycle Hum saying, who's going to be there? Da, 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 da. And Scott's like, well, let's meet up. And I think it was like the night that I got into town. And
yeah,
it was before NAMM. And we sat there. He's like, I'm like, well, I'm going to be, wearing this. He's like, you'll see me. It's pretty much the rest. I was like, and he walked in. I was like, I see you. Like that's you. Yeah. He's a tall
If anyone
guy.
wants to dig really far back, I believe you were live streaming the moment we met.
I did actually. That's right. I did live stream that. And Sammy Ash was in there too. And I kind of not fanboyed, but like Sam Ash is a music store that is a near dear in my heart because it's one that I kind of grew up in. And that's the one I always went to. I didn't go to Guitar Center, and I saw him there, and I was just like, "Oh, that's Sammy Ash. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He wouldn't know who I am." So I creeped for a little bit, didn't say anything. I think I mentioned something on one of his pictures. I was like, "Yeah, I was in the Earl Tubbs record shop, and you were there." He's like, "Yeah, I go every year. You should have said hi." And I was like, "Dang it, that was my way in." Could have been an industry insider and didn't even know it.
Yeah. So yeah, I was recognized, which is me geeking out super hard. So yeah, Zach gave me a tour of the Therme, which I cannot control that thing on my own. I'm going to need like hours of lessons because it's so deep what you can do with those dip switches. And like, I'm still struggling to really dig into the features of my, I have a tonal recall by them, and I'm still really struggling to like get the ramping stuff figured out or like get my head wrapped around it. Not so much like it's hard to access this stuff, but it's just like, for me, I'm so used to traditional effects that are static that I kind of need a tutor to get through them.
I went to the Chase Bliss booth my first year going to Summer NAMM, and because I don't get to go to Winter NAMM, that's just too far away. I live in Tennessee, so it's not too bad. It's a 3-hour drive over. But I sat there and I went, and it was pretty cool because I sat down. I don't know who it was. It might have been Zach. It wasn't Joel. I did talk with Joel. He gave me a couple shirts, and I sat there. I was like, dude, I just need a place to hide out for a minute. He's like, dude, sit down, play some pedals and everything. I sat down with a guy. I think he's blonde haired, and he sits there and he's like, here, let's mess around. And we just sat there and messed around with Guitar Gear. And he was like, oh, and they can do this. And I just looked at him. I'm like, dude, I'm dumb. Okay, like I need you to understand. Like, I don't know anything. Dude, I just started figuring out MIDI, and that's not even as complicated as half the stuff these people do. Like Chase Bliss's, those pedals are intimidating.
I would say they are and they aren't. Like on their face, they're really simple because it's the knobs that are in front of you, and they do a really great simple analog effect.
Yeah,
it's 6 knobs or whatever, how many are on there. But it's when you get into the stuff that's those dip switches on the back with the ramping, and basically means it's basically you tweaking that one of the knobs back and forth on an oscillator. Like you can get such crazy stuff out of that, and it's really cool what they can do.
All right.
So I'm a big fan.
Well, hold on. So let's move to, we've got what's new. We do have something what's new with Albie, and it actually goes into our gear news, which is there's a new company that Albert is a part of or helping, or you can tell us.
Yeah. So I'm sure a couple of you guys that are listening have kind of seen some talk around, but some of the guys from Sinasoid, we are launching a second company called Sqyatch Design Co. Starting off with pedal boards, but it's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to be a lot of really high quality, kind of like crafted accessories in that same kind of realm. So think like other nice things made of wood, and maybe some other of those artisan materials later on. But
So
we're really excited about what's going on with that.
I got to peek the website a little early because you put up for people to check it out and everything, and there was a password, and made me feel, I was like, oh snap, you got to log into this dang thing. But one of the cool things was it was pretty transparent. So you work with Sinasoid, which is known for their transparency, but they're pretty transparent on how what was it? It's pretty much what's on the website you can order. It's there.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
That was kind of something that we really wanted to lean into with this whole thing. So many people, especially recently with a lot of different things that have gone on, people get burned when they pre-order something and, it doesn't show up, or it does, but months and months late. So we kind of wanted to combine, that super high quality kind of thing with the ease of access. So yeah, like what you were saying, every single different product, at least right now, that's made by us on the site is going to be individually listed. So you'll actually see pictures of the unique board that you're going to get. Again, it's going to be more than boards, but just boards are kind of the launching flagship item.
So at some point, are you going to be able to do custom, or are you guys going to try to stick with strictly what's on the website? I forgot, you had an acronym on there, or you had like a bunch of letters strained together for like what you see is what you can buy, something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, it's kind of funny because it's a big contrast from Sinasoid, which is so customizable. One of the really defining things about what we do. But you hit the nail on the head with this one. It's always going to be what you see is what you get. We're never going to do anything custom. If you come to us with that, we're going to be honest and say, no, that's not something we're going to do. Maybe go here instead or something like that. Just because kind of leaning back into the things that matter to us on this, if we do custom, that kind of takes away from the ease of availability, making sure that people get their boards quickly. And then beyond that, we feel like our pricing is incredibly competitive for what it is. And part of how we're able to keep it so low is not doing anything custom, I think Doug Cower said once, every time that I do one, custom feature on something, then it straight up just raises the price all across of everything, which is why he doesn't do the Titans custom at all. So fun little shout out to Doug. Love that guy. Makes great guitars.
It gives great hugs too. Just throwing that out there.
Very great hugs. He's just a good man to be affectionate with.
Listen, I got a hug from Doug last year at Summer NAM. It made my day. It was like the last day of NAM. I was getting the NAM blues because I was like, man, I have to go home. This is all done. He gave me a big hug. I was like, oh, I can leave with that. I'll be happy.
Oh yeah.
What so with the Sqyatch, I don't know if you're going to talk about this. Who's making the boards?
Yeah, so that's actually something that we've kind of done a couple of revisions to the site since I think you were last on there. But we actually kind of come right out and say who it is. So we spent a lot of time, trying to look for somebody who could build to the standards that we have, because like quality is such an important thing in this kind of situation, and especially with we wanted to do nice pieces of hardwood, some exotic woods and everything, and that kind of thing just really needs an experienced craftsman.
Mm-hmm.
So funny enough, right next door to our shop in Seattle, there's a master carpenter who Andy's been friends with for years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, his dad was actually also a master furniture maker. So I mean, like, this dude comes from a long line of people who know what they're doing. He makes some beautiful, beautiful furniture for some of the pricier, living spaces in Seattle. So I mean, this guy he's insane. Steve is his name. If I didn't already drop that in there.
So one of the questions I had. So I was looking on the site, and so the boards, they're all wood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about the weight on those? Do you think they're going to be pretty comparable in weight to stuff that's out there? So I've owned quite a few boards over the time, and I had one that was all wood, and it seemed pretty heavy. But it's with Sinasoid, you guys have always kept things pretty like low. You've got the sliver cables, and those are low action. Are you guys? Are they going to be pretty lightweight?
Yeah, I mean, for a wooden board, they could be heavier.
Okay.
I'll say that. So it's in terms of so we have 3 different sizes. I'll get into this right now. So our small is a 16 by 8 by 2, and that's about 2.5 pounds or so.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they get a little bit heavier as they get bigger, but that's kind of to be expected. So our medium is a 17 by 14 by 3.5, and that's about 4.5 pounds or so. And then our large board, so our large boards are a little bit bigger. Those are 24 by 14 by 3.5, and those are about 5.5 pounds.
See, the one I had was about the size of I don't know all the pedal train sizes, but it was the old big one.
Gotcha.
The Pro.
The Pro, yeah. I had a wooden one, and that thing was probably about.
I'm lugging one of those around.
The one I had was all wood, and that thing weighed about as much as like a 3-year-old child. It was just
gosh.
it was bad. But like, I mean, it was a decent quality board. The guy was like making them one off out of his house and all that, and it was like one of those definite, like, it took me like 9 months to get it. Had to keep emailing the guy. Your typical boutique small person story, and then I got it, and that thing was heavy as all get up. So
yeah, we're not going that heavy.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Are you guys going to be showing those at Summer NAM, hopefully?
I mean, we usually don't go the booth route.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We do more of a, just kind of we as a team walk around and meet with who we need to meet with and whatnot. But I mean, we're thinking, since we're gonna be, me and Anthony are gonna be staying in a house with you guys. Maybe we'll fly with one of them down. Just have it at the house so everybody can check it out. Make sure
nice.
we do a super figured one so everybody can really enjoy that.
So if Albert just kind of told everyone, we're actually there's quite a few of us that are going to be staying in a house together for Summer NAM. So if you're at Summer NAM and you want to know where all the nerds are hanging out, you can come by our place.
I'll be soldering something.
I'm just excited. I'm going to bring my Kemper and we're going to mess around with that. And I'm trying to get people to like. There's people who are like driving in. I'm like, bring me something that we can mess with. I want to profile an amp and record it for the podcast and like let people try to hear So I think we've got to talk more of the logistics about us recording later on. But
Yeah, there's a chance that I might drive, and if I do, I'll bring like my son with me. Not like my child son. I don't have one of those.
I was about to say
Like
this turned into a Maury episode really fast.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like an old sun head, and I'd bring that down for sure. That'll be fun. I'm also gonna bring a Speedo. Don't know if I'm gonna break it out, but just saying, so you guys all have.
Is there a pool at our
decent
place?
heads up.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is.
I don't know. I'll make it happen, man. I'm a sloppy dude.
First band I was ever in, we played our first show. It was in a place called Apopka, Florida. It's kind of near Kissimmee in the Disney area, and we went out with a band that night. They were called Send Out Scuds. They were a ska band, and the lead singer was in a leopard print Speedo, and we went pool hopping at the Omni. So
That's incredible.
I can show you how to pool hop if that's what we want to do.
Oh, dude, I'm a Florida kid in like a tourism town. I know how to pool hop. Trust me.
Albert and I are getting arrested this summer. That's all I know. So
Sqyatch boards.
Nice segue. I like it.
Are you guys going to do I/O on those, or are they just going to be like a flatboard style?
So right now they're a little bit angled. But we've kind of mentioned doing a flat board sometime in the future. The initial run is just going to be a couple of the angled ones. And like I said, it's going to be so much more than boards coming up. But I know that I've already said that a couple of times, but I think that's just a really big thing that we really want to reiterate to people. Like our pedal boards are going to be great, and they're going to feel super high quality, and the price is going to really surprise you in a good way. But that's just a small portion of what we're going to do. It's just kind of the flagship, the kind of thing that's really launching us.
So is it going to be like kind of like how you've got like the beard companies, like they've got the websites and they sell beard stuff and like all this, like, are you going to do kind of like a lifestyle thing for guitar players, like all around just like nice stuff for guitar players that you can buy?
Yeah. So kind of like the vision behind it. If you go back to even just the name, it's Sqyatch Design Co. So kind of the premise that we're going with, just we as a team, we feel like we have a good amount of experience, and we're really interested in, just coming up with these ideas, designing them, and then bringing them to market by partnering with these like kind of high level, highly skilled craftspeople. Kind of like starting off with Steve. Like he's great, and he's going to be our carpentry guy. As we kind of evolve, we'll probably find other people to do different things, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think you guys will be really intrigued to see all the products that we plan on bringing out. Not in the super near future, but it's in the plans. It's in the cards.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
So what? So you've got Sqyatch going on, and you are with Sinasoid. Is there anything new coming out with Sinasoid? I know that you guys have really been, just everything you guys have really put out has been hitting it out of the park. You've got a really good fan base, a really good customer base, which have ended up being fans of you guys. I mean, Tony Ropes, Andy, you, everyone loves. It's like the personalities that work there. What I'm trying to get at. So do you guys have anything new launching soon? Are you guys kind of focusing on Sqyatch right now?
Yeah. So, that's a really interesting question, just from the perspective of, the three of us that you just mentioned, we're pretty heavily involved with the Sqyatch stuff too. And it has been a big focus of ours. But we just really kind of want to add a little bit more like separation between the two brands.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of like an interesting challenge that we're running into, kind of splitting off of that. But yeah, anyway, back to the main part of your question. Nothing really new on Sinasoid right now. It's been pretty heavy focus on the Sqyatch side for right now, and we're super close to launching on that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
So Albert, with a lot of companies have been, moving to mixing, like metal and wood and stuff like that. Is Sqyatch really focusing on wood? Is that kind of the thing that you're doing?
Yeah. So we really wanted to partner, like I said earlier, with a lot of these really talented kind of craftspeople. So, that led us to kind of leaning a little bit more heavily on the wood side. We've actually, and something else that I think is really cool is, these aren't just like stained plywood boards, like we're dealing with like maple, jatoba, sapele, teak, like all, kind of woods like that for sides, top, back, all of that on the first run. And I think that, it really shows through the use of that exotic wood. You're able to see a lot more grain in it. I mean, I think when, people really start seeing these, they're going to be really happy with how they look.
Well, with the ones I saw on the website, it seems like it's kind of be one of those things where no two really look exactly the same, because there's so much variances with the woods that it looks really cool. That your board, even though you're not ordering a custom one, is going to look like your board and probably not look like anyone else's.
Yeah, that's something else that we really wanted to put a lot of focus into, which, something you get more of when you're using these higher quality woods like this. So I think that, it blends a nice combination of, you get that more immediate need from our boards because they're all listed individually, and, you actually get to see it, order it, and then it ships immediately. But you also get that custom feel because, like you said, with these types of woods, you're never going to see two that look exactly the same. So every board's completely unique and custom in its own way, but, being put through a simple, easy, kind of streamlined process. A little bit of the best of both worlds, which something that we're really, really excited about.
One of the... Go ahead.
I was going to say, since you mentioned that, I went and dug up my last email from Sinasoid. So if you're not on their mailing list, get on it. It says they're fun emails and really cool things they're showing off. But this last photo you sent on the March 20th one, I mean, you're seeing finger jointed corners there, which is really fancy craftsmanship. And being a former woodworking nerd, I'm just loving that. You're seeing a flame maple on the top. You're seeing a quilted one in the back. These things are just beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the one that we featured last in the email, but actually a lot of the bigger boards, I think you'll really appreciate this, Scott. So there'll actually be like a lighter or darker color wood binding going around as well on a lot of those boards. Yeah, I mean it's something special. I'll send you some pics later.
We're gonna pause the recording so I can give Albert my credit card number right now, and then.
Scott, those sounds that you just made were not normal sounds.
I should not have recorded that.
No,
it's okay. Just take it out and post. Take it out and post.
No, that stays in. That stays in. That's just gonna be the end of every episode. It's got just going. All right. So we've talked about, we've touched on some Sinasoid. We've talked about Sqyatch. So one of the things is Albert. If you don't know who he is, you're living under a rock in the gear world, in my opinion, or you're not on Facebook enough. Albert has been he's a mustache that everyone knows. I remember he shaved off the mustache. I believe there was a public outcry, possibly petitions that were signed. Not saying.
Yeah, there was a little bit of resistance to that one time that I shaved it. So it's been growing ever since.
Yeah, but but it stays the same length. It'll never. He doesn't trim it, but it stays there. So Albert was with a company for a long time, and he left the gear world for a minute. He actually did a commercial.
I did a lot of weird stuff to get by for a little bit.
Dude, that commercial though, if you haven't seen it, we've got to find a way to get it out there. It is probably...
I can get the link. You guys can put it in like the description of the pod.
Please do. What was the commercial about again? I remember you were a nurse. Wasn't it traveling nurses?
Yeah, so it was actually traveling nurse commercial, medical staffing company. Shouts out to Fusion Medical Staffing. You guys are the real deal.
If you're listening to this by any chance.
Yeah, if like I said, I'm still shouting you guys out even post commercial. But yeah, so I was like the leader of a gang of angry nurses for a little bit. we said and did some hurtful things. Then it kind of flip-flopped, and it was, had we been nice, which was a better outcome. And then there's a little extra special treat for you if you hang around till the end in the pool scene. So all I gotta say is sometimes I can get real patriotic, and that's all you need to know. Just look for that, and you'll get it. You'll get it.
It was great. And then, but then you joined back with Sinasoid. But one of the things that would be cool for the listeners to hear, all 7 of you listeners.
Hey, we have dozens of listeners.
There's dozens of them. Is tell us a little bit about you outside of working in the gear industry. What do you do with your own gear life?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I'm really honored that you guys are that interested in me. It's. I guess I'll start like from the beginning. I started playing bass when I was a pretty little kid. I am a bass player first. The rare breed that didn't start on guitar and then switch over because somebody needed it.
Or the guy like me who was a bass player and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the guitar because it's really hard to sit outside the band room and just play bass and be cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It did not score me a lot of points growing up, usually. But yeah. So I started playing when I want to say, I was 7 when I started playing bass. So I started pretty early. When I hit 15, I started playing in local metal bands around my hometown. Which was kind of funny because I was a pretty small kid. Anybody who's seen me in person knows I'm still not a very big person.
I think I still have the picture of me holding you up.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I like the photo of you and me together.
That's what I call contrast right there. But yeah, so I'm not a big dude. I forget, where was I going with this again?
You played bass.
Yeah.
No, it was me. I derailed you. It's what happens.
It's okay. Long story short, I met Diaz, fell in love, and now here I am.
He's living in my basement.
But yeah, so played bass. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Okay, so yeah, I was pretty small as a kid. I'm still a pretty small dude. So I was 15 when I started playing out. And I got the very affectionate nickname of the 12-year-old bass player for a couple years, where people were like, "How does he get into these shows, let alone play?" But I did my thing for a little bit. Did a little bit of light touring, with again a lot of heavy stuff, and then I joined with another company. That's a whole other story. Moved to Nebraska from Florida, where I'm from originally. Didn't work out with them. Kind of spent some time up here, just kind of figuring my stuff out. Ended up landing with Sinasoid. So yeah, it's been a really fun adventure so far. I'm super thankful about getting to just be in the industry. It's one of those things where growing up as a kid. I always kind of heard the whole classic oh well, you can't do music. Eventually you're gonna have to you're gonna have to get a real job.
How do you get a guitar player off your front porch? Pay him for the pizza.
Yeah, yeah, basically. So I'd kind of heard that growing up my whole life, and it really is a beautiful thing that. And obviously, a lot of people can make it that way. I don't think that was for me. I don't think you should tell people it's not for them. But I think it was actually kind of the right thing in my scenario, and just being able to find an alternative route to still be involved in the industry, to still work around and do music related things without actually doing the act of physically playing for your career. And that's just such a cool thing that there's so much space in this industry. There's such great opportunity for everybody with any skill set to really dive deep into the whole industry and really kind of get something going. I was a dumb kid from Florida who didn't know anything when I started doing this, and and it seems to have worked out all right. So if I can make it, then anybody can.
You should be like a motivational speaker. At NAMM, that's what they're gonna have is like you up there looking like Tony Robbins with the headset on.
I like it.
The cowboy mic or whatever it is. Like just go. If I can do it, you can too. And but that's pretty cool. So here's my. So what are you doing with music now? Are you playing at church or anything or?
Yeah, so I kind of took a little bit of time off, not 100% on my own. I just going from like a smaller town to like a bigger city, even if it is Nebraska. You know, it's kind of harder to get plugged into a scene in a bigger area. But now I'm doing a lot of playing. You guys all know Isaiah, right?
Yeah, Dominguez, right?
Yeah. One of the most beautiful men you'll ever meet. Had to give him a little bit of love there. But yeah, so I play music with him, just kind of like, you know, contracts me out to be his bass player from time to time. And I have a solo project that I'm kind of working on. I've been pretty busy for a minute, but it is a surf punk 2-piece band. Just me playing guitar and a drummer called Fuzz Dolphin. Gonna be some real cool stuff coming out with that, hopefully soonish. I have songs written. It's just been a matter of kind of me finding who's gonna be my drummer for that, and then kind of going from there. But yeah, that's just a lot of fun, fuzzy tones, and that's kind of my other thing that I've been doing. I play at church sometimes, but not a ton. So you know, do a little bit of dabbling here and there. Every once in a while, Isaiah has me play bass on like a little like jingle or something that he wrote. Like there was like a lawn care commercial that that he did that I threw down a little bass line for. So I try to stay busy with it now.
Cool. That sounds really cool. Like I would love to be the guy who's like no, you hear that? You hear that? That's me right there.
Yeah.
No. You hit the TiVo 15 seconds back and then listen to it again.
Yeah, like I said, I did a couple of random odd jobs like that in between my last gear job and this one. Like what you said, you know, the commercial. I did obviously that. Also, I did like some random voice acting too. Like there were a couple like church videos that I would narrate. You know, do a real nice voice and people like it. So I did a couple of random fun things to stay busy and to, you know, stay going.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, so it looks like our time is about up, so we're going to wrap it up here. You know, for the Effects Loop, we want to say thanks for listening. A shout out to Marcus Gullen, who did let us use a song for the theme music. So every week when you listen in, that's Marcus Gullen. He's my brother. You can check out his album Piece Together, and we'll have a link for that in the description as well. So you guys have a good week. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Who didn't say things?
Marissa talked.
Damn.
I know, she was so quiet this episode.
Through the ages, this has been the servo song. dictionary. Why is negativity always drawn out? Pictionary, visualize love, energize lives together. We undefeated, a plan to make weathers, no gloves needed. When we weed into the mindset of achieving and believing in a community that remains happy. Forever after, the world should be one. Hate annihilated, every heart is one. Love again. So don't buy